Hello everybody, I am back with another video today. Today we are finishing up the 1910 chapter from Baking Yesteryear. Um, the final recipe in this chapter is the divinity. I've had divinity before. Both of my grandmas used to make it right around the holiday season as part of their holiday baking. Um, It was always something that I could take or leave. I would eat it, but I was never super excited or super crazy about it, but I never really disliked it either. Um, I've never made divinity. Um, I don't even think I was at my grandma's when they were making it or anything like that. I've just had it after it was finished. I know it can be a little tricky to make, so I'm hoping mine turns out okay today. But we'll see how it goes. Um, Next week, I am going to be making a coconut cake, and then I will be making one more recipe, and then we will start our own holiday baking. Here, I got some great recipes planned for that, but until then, let's get started on our divinity. All right, so for our divinity, we've got some sugar, we've got some light corn syrup, water, egg whites, vanilla, and some chopped pecans. The recipe did say that you could also add some candy cherries or any other kind of dried candied fruit. I didn't have any, and so I'm gonna leave it out. It was an optional ingredient for this. So I am just gonna do without. So this is everything that we do need for the divinity, so let's get started. I am going to start by beating up my egg whites. Alright, so I have my egg whites all beaten up. They look really good, and now I am going to continue. I am going to mix together everything else except for the vanilla and the pecans, and we are going to get that cooking. Once I have that ready to start cooking, I will be back. All right, so in here I've got the sugar, the water, and the corn syrup. We are going to bring this to the hardball stage, which is 260 degrees Fahrenheit. After that has reached the correct temperature, we are going to add this to our egg whites and get it all beat up. Once this is ready to get mixed in with the egg whites, I will be back. Alright, so my syrup is getting close. I don't know if you can read my thermometer here, but it is almost to the softball stage. We want it at the hardball stage for this. I did just want to pop in here really quick and say that I am going to get this mixed in to the egg whites off camera and probably mix in the nuts and the vanilla off camera because I will need both hands to get this finished. Once I have everything all mixed up together and ready to scoop out onto my cookie sheets, I will show you guys what it looks like. Alright, so I got that all mixed up together. I hope I mixed it up well enough and that it sets okay. I'm going to get this scooped out and I will be back. Alright, so I've got my divinity scooped out here. I did get about 2 panfuls of it from that batch that I made. It looks really good. Now we are going to let this sit overnight and kind of dry out and set up a little bit. I will be back with you in the morning to kind of check this out and see how it is. All right, so the divinity has set overnight. It looks really good. I can't wait to give it a try and see how it is. I am going to have a piece really quick and then I will be back with my final thoughts. All right, so I am back with my final thoughts on the divinity. Um, it was actually better than I remember it being. I don't know if this was different than the recipes that my grandma's used. I know they're all basically the same, but still a little bit different, as with most things. It did turn out pretty well. It was still pretty sweet. Um, I don't know if this is something I'm going to make a lot of or if I'll make it again. I might because it did turn out really good. It's just, it is super sweet. Um, but overall, it was pretty good and I did enjoy it. Um, it was easier to make than I thought it was going to be. Um, I know it can be tricky to make, um, and probably not something you would want to make in like hot, humid weather. But it is November and I am in the Midwest, so it is cooler, drier here and everything. So it did turn out really good. My egg whites beat up really nice. Everything mixed together really nice. Um, and it is something I might incorporate into my holiday baking in the future. I don't know yet. Um, just kind of depends on how much we eat of this um, this time around. I suppose I could always do a half batch in the future if I get a taste for it so it doesn't make as much. It did not make a huge amount, which was also really nice. I did get about 2 cookie sheets full um, of the divinity and scooping them out with like a regular tablespoon. Um, I do have to say that if I do make this again, I am going to pull out our big KitchenAid stand mixer, which we don't use a lot just because it is bigger um, and everything, and it's just for most of what we bake here in our house, the little hand mixer is easier. But I do feel that using a stand mixer for the divinity would be better. Um, it would be easier to pour the syrup into the egg whites with the stand mixer, and it does have to beat up for quite a while. You have to beat it like 8 to 10 minutes or so. I did beat mine for the full 10 minutes. By the time that 10 minutes was up, I was tired of holding my hand mixer. My arms were getting tired and everything. So just the stand mixer might make the process a little easier and everything. Would kind of be able to clean up a little bit while that was beating with the stand mixer, where I was pretty much just stuck standing there with my hand mixer for 10 minutes. So if you do end up making this recipe, I do recommend using a hand mixer if you have it. If you don't have a stand mixer, the regular hand mixer is fine. That is what I use this time. I just feel like going forward, if I ever make this again, I will be using the stand mixer just to make it a little easier. But overall, it still was a pretty simple process. It is just something you do have to kind of watch and pay attention to, especially when you're cooking the syrup. If you don't cook the syrup long enough, or if you overcook it, it's not going to turn out. Um, but it is definitely something you can make. And if you like sweeter type candies, or if you like divinity, I definitely recommend giving this recipe a try. And so that is going to wrap up the 1910s chapter from Baking Yesteryear. Um, I think my favorite recipe from this chapter was probably either the carrot pie or the gingerbread. I did really like both. The pork cake was probably my least favorite, even though the rest of my family did really like the pork cake. Um, in January, I will be starting the 1920s chapter, which I am super excited to start. There looks like there are a lot of good recipes in there. There are definitely ones that I am really, really wanting to try. I know there is an apple cake in there that looks great, and I'm super excited. That what that apple cake was actually one of the reasons I ended up getting this cookbook because I did really want to try it. So that will be coming up in January. Like I said, next week we are going to be doing a coconut cake. It is a Jamaican coconut cake. I have never tried this before. It is a completely new recipe for us, but one I am really excited to try because I do like exploring different recipes, both just different recipes I've never had before and from different cultures, just trying a bunch of different things. So I am really excited to be trying the this Jamaican coconut cake, but we'll get into that next week. Um, the week after that, I've got a pasta dish planned out that sounds really good that I've never made before. And then we will be into some Christmassy holiday baking, which will be a fun time for everybody, I hope. Um, but until then, good times, good food.